I remember thinking, like, am I competing against Bob? You know, and to those that don't know what Bob is, that's that battery operated boyfriend. I clearly remember thinking, am I competing against him? Is he about to take over my job for me?
Okay, let's go.
What's up? It's me, Big Sarge, coming at tonight from the business side. To my drill team, salute. And if you happen to come across this page tonight, hit that subscribe. So tonight, it's going to seem like I'm rambling, but I'm really going to be talking about something intimate. So I have this idea in my head. I actually have the format on how I want to discuss it. But since it's going to be more of an intimate nature conversation, I just need you to bear with me. So, how many of you, men or even women, have been laying in bed in the middle of the night and you heard this sound? I remember the first night that I heard that sound. I will never forget it. I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was after one of those nights where your boy thought he did his thing. And I remember when I woke up and I heard that sound, I knew what that sound was. A lot of people know what it is or have a pretty good idea on what it is by the time you awaken to enough sunrises in your life. By the time I heard that sound, I knew what it was. And I remember I was facing away from her. And I was laying there. Before I turned around, well, actually I didn't turn around. But before I thought about turning around or not turning around, I was actually laying there thinking like, damn, Sean, did I not do something right tonight? You know, I remember sitting there with all types of insecurities starting to build up in my heart, starting to build up in my spirit, starting to build up in my mind. I remember laying there thinking like, maybe I should have did this a little longer. Maybe I should have did this a little better. Maybe I should have did this a little stronger. Maybe I should have did this a little faster. But at the end of the day, I just clearly remember laying there and my insecurities were starting to go crazy. And guess what, fam? I didn't turn around that night. You know, but the next morning, well, not the next morning I woke up, I went to PT, but that evening, you know, I had brought it to her attention. And, you know, fortunately for us, she assured me that it wasn't that I wasn't doing my thing. It was that she said she had an urge and that's what she wanted to do. And I remember thinking, like, am I competing against Bob? You know, and to those that don't know what Bob is, that's that battery operated boyfriend. I clearly remember thinking, am I competing against him? Is he about to take over my job for me? You know, so I was in my 20s at the time, and I just remember going through all types of insecurities, you know. But the question is, what happens when you're a man in a relationship with a woman and the insecurities are unbearable? What happens when you're a man and you cannot help but think, are you actually competing against Bob? Is Bob actually about to take over your job? What happens when you're feeling like that? So the advice or the 2 cents that I want to give to young men is that you're not competing against him. You know, so it's one of those things that just happens in relationships. So it just so happens that in this case, your woman's found a way that can get her from A to B, you know, and it's one of those things that you should be thankful. Because I was actually looking at some of the statistics about the women who aren't quote unquote sexually pleased through direct intercourse. You know, that a lot of times we're going to have to go into oral intercourse because the penetrative intercourse isn't getting it done for. That's not a point that we as men need to feel like we're not doing our job or we're not measuring up, because we are. Just so happens that for some women, it just takes a different path for them to get there. And if you're fortunate enough to have a woman that knows how to get from A to B, that's a good thing, gentlemen. Now, for the women who are in relationships with men who feel uncomfortable with Bob being in the picture, what do you do? I would love to hear your 2 cents in on this.
Hey, let's go.
This is Big Sarge, fam. And I'm out.